Check audio. Yes, tell me everybody's in the waiting room. Yes. There you go. Admit all. Spotlight. Admit all. Yay. All right, now while everyone's kind of rolling in, I'm gonna finish one. Tell me where we left off, because I'm probably gonna take a we might circumambulate a few things. How's that for some fancy work? Walk around some things. So how to know when you think you might have found something. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Not bad, not bad. All right. So tell me where we left off. This is dun 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 dun. Boom, boom. Okay, so we're talking about words and actions. True. Right. How we make those determinations, who's ultimately responsible for what and any one time, right? To figure that out, we figure out the who. Well, don't actually look at this one. It's how and then why. Figure out this stuff and who's responsible. It's kind of a logic structure between questions, kind of thing. And as you find out details, the surrounding facts around those details start to fill in the gaps or anything that's missing. You know that word missing again. I've been dealing with that word a lot of things missing. So we'll start with that one because we'll start with those concepts with you all in here. How do you know if something's missing? How would you know? How would you know something's not there? Yeah, right. Similar conversation probability in methods. You're in methods right now. You're having that similar conversation in there a few weeks back. It's really hard to figure that out. You got to start filling the gaps. The way that we do it. Interesting. We start exploring and measuring things. We do the same thing over here. And how they fit together. In all the ways that it could logically and reasonably fit. Heard the phrases logic and reasoning, facts and feelings, all that stuff. It actually all matters. If you don't take all of it into account, none of it matters. Ooh, that's the rub of it. Right? Take it out of context, it doesn't matter at all. Put it back in the context, it does. But some things stand on their own. I'm going to show you kind of how
power on.
Bluetooth. Thank you, Chelsea. You'll like this. You'll like this a lot. That's audio on. One of those things you have to pay attention to in our field. We talk about errors and things like that, right? Probably at the beginning of the semester, I talked about it in terms of, nope, not what I want. Go in and see, okay? Right, well, it's right and wrong, a little bit. It's usually that's another one's kind of funny right there. Distinctions. Going to boil it down. Two sides of the scale. That's the way I always see it. That's me personally. You won't see it in the textbook. What it is your individual right versus public good, right? So you're measuring both what's good and right versus individual and public. Those things are intangibly bound at any one point in time. You use this structure here in criminal law to be able to dictate when someone's doing something right or something wrong and who's responsible for what in the most gravest of circumstances. But when that stuff attaches, how easy it attaches, that kind of thing. Talk a little bit about these things. From the laws we're doing this. We don't really care about how well we do. Actually, we do. That's going to be that harm kind of element. How well did we do? How well does it align? What were our ultimate results? So, but that's kind of baked in, so we won't pay attention to this. This is the big thing that we've got it going on at any one given point in time. Since we don't really, we know we're going for fact, or not fact, fiction, we're going for guilty or not guilty. We'll ignore this one for right now because that one is out of question. So we got to look at the micro level. You, in this instance, this situation, what has transpired. A clear distinction between things, words and actions. Is it a clear distinction? Okay. What did we say here last time about words and actions? I'm going to show you some scary stuff. I'll start showing what lies are. You need to know what lies are. Apparently. That's probably a good place to start for dealing with this thing. Right? Right. Last time we were talking a little bit about, when we got into citation, I was a little bit of a jump ahead. I wasn't expecting to go there. We will revisit that in a second. Solicitation. Something as soft as a request to be wrong and get you criminally punished. Request. All you did was ask. If I said Enron, does anyone recognize that name? You should. It's almost synonymous with some of those issues that happened in 2008 and what maybe great uncles, grandparents, that kind of stuff, depending on their age frames, probably had to delay up retirement by like 5 to 7 years, costing them years of their lives in misery. At least delayed gratification was unnecessary. You might want to look that one up. Know your history a little bit. Right? Big thing with them was this corporate stuff. And so that stuff gets real nasty real fast because there's all kinds of things. Okay, this is private for the company. If I release this, it's going to be detrimental to the company. I'm going to keep it quiet. Okay. Some point I think true, to be honest. This was a central point in that thing. Because one of the things that they did was destroy all their records. One of those things is kind of interesting to see that echo across time. Destroy all the records. Anytime you see that, that's one of those things you can start to clearly identify things. That's sort of a procedural lesson. We'll talk a little bit about it here. We start getting into like affirmative defenses a little bit because that's the point in time at which defense actually has to substantiate anything, really, for the most part. Because in this system, we're dealing with doubt. As long as I can poke enough holes in your story, there's doubt there, and you can't find me guilty of anything. If I'm going to allege something, you know how to substantiate it. That's the thing that we're doing here. With Enron, they were really pissed off because they couldn't get the people who shredded the documents. They could only get the people who asked because of the way the statutes were written. It's like they're able to go after the people who asked. The middle management, well, these big bosses, that's going to be a verbal thing. It's going to be middle management kind of thing. But they weren't able to get the people who actually did the shredding. Who knew they were doing the shredding? That's kind of interesting. So it's ask. An incitation is a little bit different than a solicitation because there's a bit more of a command, right? That's why I got worried last time you guys got quiet. It means you don't understand the nuance, the softness, the approach. It's like martial arts. there's different ways, different types of martial arts. You guys know that. I said Taekwondo, karate versus Kung Fu. I said hard versus soft techniques. If you study martial arts, you know what I mean. Harder, usually striking techniques, softer grappling to some degree. Realize that those are continuums. It's like the other guy who that much effort, he's got you off balance. You're going to fall. And what he does next, that's all he needs, right? That's incitation. I think I said something to the effect of, did you hear what I heard? Did you guys hear that last class? Do you remember that? What did I say? Said, okay. How many of you watched debates? I think it was. Was that last class? Was that in here? How many of you watched? How many of you watched it in the meantime? Something happened over the weekend. What happened? You not know? I said something to the effect of, oh, you're inviting your people over to the other party's rallies. Did you hear what I heard? Maybe I'm crazy. No, I just know that there are crazies in the world. Let me share my screen. Did you guys hear about that? Why wouldn't you hear about that? So you took a shot at JFK and he'd live. Don't you think you'd know? First thing about lies. First thing about a trap. First thing about noticing something missing. You have to know what should be there to some degree. That's kind of an important one, don't you think? Yeah. Interesting. Boop. So what's going on there? I don't know. So we're going to talk really quick about how to know whenever you're getting into those things. So basically, I'm going to show you a couple things and ask you if you see what I see. Okay. This one. Actually, let's do this for a second. Chat. I just fired in the same proximity, not a him. I don't know. But that was that yesterday or the day before? Don't you think that you'd be hearing about it by now? Or something high press or high press, that kind of thing? It's like, why is that not something that's being said more widely? Why is it quiet? I don't know. Yes, it's Monday morning, but still, this had been 20 years ago. You guys would all know. Admit. That's one of those things that's interesting. So, do you see what I see? Start talking about words and actions, lies, right? Because that's one of the ways that you start to invalidate things. We start talking about that a little bit last time, I think, a little bit. When you start getting into calls for, whether it's calls for violence, incitations, or just simple requests. Defenses for that. The first one's abandonment. You've shown some way that you've abandoned those ideals, those plots, those actions before they've taken place. Because in this stage, nothing is crossed over more than just your words, even though your words themselves are actions. They're going to build something greater. It's like whispering into the wind, only it multiplies. Right? So we start looking as to what ways these things align and what things kind of happen. That's the investigation side. Whenever you get back into it and you're in court, you have to look back into it again, almost from an investigation kind of perspective to see if the way things are being presented to you are factually accurate. You need to do that across all things. I'm going to show you some things. At some point in time, this might be newsworthy. We'll find out as time moves forward because I've got no hesitancy for talking about things. So I'm going to show you some cool shit. What's this? To choose an account? I thought I was on an account. You can make me log in again. No. Okay. Send. Boom. 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 This right here. Let me make that larger for you so you can see it. See if you guys see what I see. Okay. We'll preface this. Am I sharing my screen right now? Let's share it now so you guys can online and see it. Boom. There you go. This is a bank statement kind of thing. What you need to look at right here. Create and download detailed report transactions for any time period in the past 7 years. Okay. Data is updated as of September 16th. Yeah, I was doing this this morning. Okay. This one's me. Report type, all transactions. I can download that now. I've got to do that. I haven't done that yet. But make this bigger. What do you see? Okay. Problems and pitfalls. You guys ever heard that phrase before? What does that mean? Okay. Problems. Think stumbling blocks. You're going to trip on something. What's a pitfall? Don't you fall into? What is that saying? Be aware of what's there and mind the gas. On the gas. What's not there? You have to pay attention to both things. Those are two different things. You have to track them separately if you're not. This one, which should be particularly problematic to you if you're looking at this, is there's a significant gap right here on request dates, this line right here. So I got access to this last week. So this is the first time I'm really looking at it last night because I've been busy. Okay. September to March. Okay, that's about 6 months period. March, October 2017. Context. This is a charity, a 501c3 that has to submit federal documentation for taxes each and every year to verify that it's tax exempt. Otherwise, you're stealing from the federal government. How can you submit a single one if you've never once downloaded the transaction reports? We got a problem here. You don't have any transactions that are downloaded whatsoever. You can't give me any records yourselves. What are we talking here? Is that criminal or not? You don't know yet? You can't read people's minds, can you? You want to? You want to? You're going to. I'll show you. Timing's everything. Have patience. Know the strength to be gentle. Boom. This came in on the 12th. Unbeknownst to me, I actually got a phone call from someone else saying, hey, I heard you got access to this. Is this true? Well, let me go look through all the 800 emails that I have to see what's going on. Those are all business too. Well, there's probably 100 in there. Junk. The rest is actually work that people are angry with me about. It's like, I get that. I would be too. I am. Okay. Oh, wait, that's not the first one. Those are a few of the codes. That's when I first got access to it. I need to get the other one. I'll show you the other one. Hold on. The next one's even more important. Boop. No. Go back. Not that one. You just stay right where you're at. We'll go. About this one again. Move this. Boop. Boop. Calendar. I don't really care about the calendar. I just want the Gmail thing up. So I'm going to do this. PayPal. Boop. Okay. Thank you for signing up for a business account. I didn't sign up for one. Confirm your email. Just out of nowhere. This is what I get 4 days ago. Okay. Why did it come in 4 days ago? If that was just a few clicks away for me to get records, I need to verify 501c3 status that we're not stealing money at some point in time. Why would it come in just now? And why would I be able to see that? just now with a month in time for the event. 2 weeks ago, I had to go and fill out a form for their tax accountant to change over to party responsible. I delayed that by a long time because life sucks. So it originally came in. Okay. What address would you like me to use for it? July 25th. July 25th. Slow reply. Got it. Will you sign this form and turn it to me? July 29th. So I waited because that's one that if I sign, I'm the one who's responsible for filing the last 2 years that they've not been turning in to call attention to the IRS, and they're trying to kill the organization. What do you think the likelihood is that they know that what they're doing? What do you think the likelihood is that they did that on purpose? What do you think the likelihood is that they only reveal this information to me once they think that I'm on the hook for being responsible for their actions? They're trying to shift responsibility here. You're starting to see some lies going on. Be careful of the landscape you stand on. If you're not careful, they'll shift it on you. All of a sudden, everything's sliding towards you. How does that work? That's how it works. The small details, everything. You have to pay attention to what's there and what's not. I should keep a closer track of who's in what's classes because I could barely keep track of myself, though. That would be like going into the lost and missing, looking to see who's there, and then clicking to see the very last page to see what's there. Right? No one does that. I do that because no one else does. I see something no one else does. That might be a good thing. Usually it's that I see it. It might be a really bad thing I find. Unknown yet. We'll find out about that. Cool. Might need you to make a phone call at some point in the next couple of days. Okay. So you guys are starting to see something about how intent works, how words work, how actions work. Oh, by the way, that whole time there's a whole bunch of words going on across the email. I probably have several hundred emails from that group. A lot of them are hostile. We've only to date had one board meeting. It's the only one I've ever been on. Never been through litigation so quickly in my life. Usually it's a good 3 sentences in. So I'm not worried about that. Okay, so words, I'm gonna leave that one up there. Right, wrong, responsibility. All those things can move in different directions. Be aware of that. How'd you guys like assignment 1? Have you been looking at that one in here? You liking that? Where all I'm looking for is that see how you navigate that. Make sure you cite your sources, not just the cases themselves, but make sure you identify where they come from. So it's like websites, that kind of thing, because I'll show you that. Have I had the deadline for that yet? Assignment 1. Is it today? How many of you done it yet? Okay. Good. Yeah, get that in. Since more of you don't have it, I don't know if I want to show you that just yet. I was kind of want to show you that a little bit. You're on time. Let's go see what we need to talk about first. 20 minutes. I figure that's a good way to make those things kind of apparent related to those relationships between words, actions, responsibility, those kinds of things. Because with everything going on in the world, people will spin those things up, get those things all twisted. If you can't tell heads or tails, you have to wait, you have to have patience, and you have to have time and attention to go and sort it all out. Here, what I want to show you next. Maybe I will show you how to do this. That way, if you're here today, you'll have time to see the class because it'll probably be later today that I get this video up. And so they might not, you wouldn't really have time to watch this in advance of me. You do, unless you're here. So a little added benefit for being in person, not so much a detriment if you're online, just a difference in causal orderings. Okay. So that looks like this. BB. Boom. Crim Law 1. Science. Boom. So we have a couple stories here. Well, one story, but a couple different people, a couple different perspectives. Actually, a whole bunch of different perspectives. And you probably notice that there's a number of things that you could make into crimes if you want to, or ignore entirely, right? Welcome to discretion, right? That's what I like about stories. You pull out what you want. It's almost like why people talk in parables at times. It's because there's some interpretation involved in things so complex. I have to tell a story to see all the different people involved. It's that confusing kind of thing. Same thing there. As you're trying to go through this, where did you guys go? Those of you who've done it. I can tell you the common ones I've seen that help. Okay. Justia is that one. Let's see, what's the other one? The other really common one. It's another law one. I'm drawing a blank on it. Where should you go?
I just pulled up like Oklahoma statutes and then it popped up like an index for like the different crimes.
Ooh. Let's go take a look at that then. Let's see. Which crimes? Just give me one. Just one.
Property crimes.
Property crimes. Okay, cool. Excellent. So we're in Oklahoma. Is that where I said that? Oklahoma. Property crimes. Yeah, forgive me. I'm going to yawn for a second. Not enough coffee yet today. I need to get down the rest of this. I went to bed at like 5. Yeah. Okay. So something like this. Did you make? I bet what it is. You added in one more word. Could have either been this one. There's Justia. I'm a Senate. I'm a legislator, county offices. How about this one? Statutes. Westlaw is it? There's another one that comes up that's very common. This one is actually a pretty good one. Not secure. It's a .gov. Oklahoma State statutes. Titles across things. You see how many different titles there are. 80 plus, because some of them have 2. Probably not quite 100. They cover different things. You see how they're broken down, almost like a table of contents. It is a table. It's that kind of thing. Those will change a little bit depending on what state that you're in, that kind of thing. The structure will remain largely the same, though. This is the one, 21. Let's see if it takes you to the right one.
Yeah, that's
There you go. Right. So this, you can see how much this is. This is, it's not giving me a page count. I was hoping to give me a page count. Nope. Move this over here somewhere. This one. Yeah, it's not giving me a page count. Oh, it's up here. There we go. I'm looking in the wrong place. Sorry. I'm slow. All right, so page count. 708 pages, right? As you get into this, slow down. 21. Oh, it looks to be hyperlinked because there's a link right here. As I'm hovering over it, it's looking like it wants to go somewhere. Let's see if it goes somewhere. Let's go into willfully, negligent, corruptly. Hold on. The term corruptly is when so employed imports a wrongful design to acquire some pecuniary or other advantage to a person guilty of the act or omission referred to. That's kind of funny. Why? Because you're seeing more of that than what I showed you a minute ago. Right? Funny thing is, I've already called corrupt their faces. I'm an asshole. All right. So this is one place you can go. Another one. Let's go to the Oklahoma legislative website itself so you can learn how to navigate that. Nope, I took out okay. That'll work. Okay, legislature.gov. This over here. This over here. That'll work. All right, this has changed a little bit since last time I was on it. Every now and again they update websites. So if you're not keeping up with these things, when you come up here, it's like walking into a new world each time. Sort of like if when you move away from home, if you haven't done it already, that kind of a thing. Give it 10 years, go back. It's like everything's different now. Yes. Happens a lot faster over here. And so you kind of have to pop in every now and again and have an idea of what you're looking for, which is kind of difficult. Here, you can see your legislators, of course, your home stuff. Legislators, you can find them here. You can find them up there. Track bills, that kind of stuff. Legislation, basic bill searches. Browse Oklahoma Constitution, browse Oklahoma statutes, search Oklahoma statutes and Constitution, right? Same kind of thing, only this time it's bound in here. So this is probably the exact same website, just in a smaller window. Yep, looks to be. At different times, they'll have different versions of things up for different statutes. You have to realize what applies when and where. Usually what's happening there is there might be some type of change taking place, notification for those changes is taking place within this too. There's not going to be notification on the websites, that kind of stuff too. All kinds of processes involved with that. But as you go with it, come down here and look. Let's say we were looking for not like bribery, corruption, forfeiture, a lot of property stuff, gifts, concealing, conspiracy, oath of office. Keep going. Definitions. Let's see. Let's find a good one. Here's battery. Assault and battery. Boop. Assault and battery and domestic abuse. Hold on. Boop. Oh, it took me back all the way. That's what I don't like. And if you shop around, you can start seeing different versions of it. They're all in the same neighborhood. Sort of like being in a library and you're looking at books. I was looking for one book. I get over to this section. Here's a whole bunch of books on a similar kind of topic, right? So make sure you look around, because you have to look around to distinguish the difference between statutes, know which ones you would want to charge with, which ones you wouldn't, which ones include lesser charges, which ones don't, right? What you do have, what you do not have. You got to keep tally of all of that, what your arguments are for each. It's like quantum computing. You got to track everything now, and everything's possible. Does that help with that assignment? Feel like you know a little bit more, got a little bit more ability to go out and look for things. All of this stuff that you learn in the course of your education is for a purpose. And you be able to build, and you'll be able to take things apart. Crim Law is the same thing. You learn the basic elements, all of them abide by it, then you learn the new ones. Cool. So as you're setting that up, what I'm looking for there is that you get in the neighborhood for this assignment, for the different types of actions there. The biggest lesson there is actually one from a policing perspective. You can identify when something appears to be wrong. Knowing exactly what it is very difficult. In fact, by the time you get to it, it's going to be how many different people touching it and making a decision as to what you're being charged with or what's going to be recommended, that kind of a thing. It's a lot. It's a joint production. Who's responsible for it? No one person. Everyone involved. Everyone involved. Cool. It's now 9:43. Anything you guys want to talk about before we get back to actual class stuff? No, we're about out of time. The reason why I showed you that stuff that I showed you in my email, that's probably going to go public soon. That's 6 states worth of criminal justice educators that are tied to that organization. There's 7 years worth of board members who are tied to that kind of activity, and no one knows that nothing's been done. They tried to fire me for providing the first budget in 3 years that I knew of. I covered 2 years worth of data in 3 days. They fired me. Tried to. They failed at that too. Get ready to hear some stories. This is going to be fun. This is what we do. This is what the stuff you have to do. It's very hard. The best thing you need to keep in mind at any point in time, the person you need to look hardest at any one point in time. Yourself. Making sure that you're not the one who's corrupting the process, making sure you're the one giving you space for the movements to take place. You have to be able to make sure that that's not coming from you, that's coming from someone else. How do you do it? You love it, let it go. Learn to be free. Don't let the burdens bother you, especially if they want to. Right? That's how you do it. You can be thrown in prison and be free. Is that Gandhi? I don't know. I'd have to look back at that. Perspective is everything here. That's the first thing here. Whose perspectives are you taking, and are you entertaining all? Because ain't nobody good in that story, really. Welcome to the real world. Have a great day. We'll cut it there for today. Talk to you later.
Oh, sure.